Now at 9, road repairs and restorations continue in Pittsburgh thanks to a street sales tax program. Plus, a new park ordinance in Joplin may have a direct impact on the city's homeless population. And
we take a sneak peek inside of Pitt State's newest art expedition. I'm Lonnie Walton in Pittsburgh. I'll have that story coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A new Joplin city ordinance banning camping in public places sparks concern among citizens who say it targets the homeless. This is KOAM News at 9. I'm Anthony Saviello. KOAM's Ty Parks talked to residents and city officials to get their reaction.
Joplin City Council recently passed a city ordinance about camping, specifically camping in the park.
We modified our park ordinances to reflect that there are no camping activities. We don't want people that are camping. There's trash, there's litter that's left behind, so we try to manage those different things for the betterment of the community as a whole. So we do make adjustments to those policies from time to time.
He tells us why the ordinance needed to be changed.
I think there were clarifications within the park ordinances that we need to make. We've always had a no camping policy, but it didn't really go into any detail of what really is camping. So we added some additional language that focused on, the accessories or the paraphernalia of camping, like tents and tarps and sleeping bags.
Some citizens have been concerned that the new city ordinance is aimed at people experiencing homelessness.
When we come across anybody in the public parks that may be violating one of the ordinances or violating one of our laws, what we do is it's always on a case-by-case basis. We'll interact with that person, try to figure out what's going on, try to get their identification to make sure they're not wanted, things of this nature. And if they are actually doing something that violates the law, we'll enforce whatever that law is. If an arrest is made, we will make the physical arrest, and then their property goes with them to the jailhouse.
We speak with a citizen about what they have seen with regards to police interacting with people in the park.
So my personal experience in interacting with both law enforcement and park rangers is that enforcement is being handled with compassion, but it is also being enforced. So that, help make sure that the right people are in the right places at the right times. But I've had the opportunity to visit with many of our park rangers and the officers that frequent this area, and I'm so thankful for their heart for the people that are here.
The old ordinance said the police would look for a shelter for someone they found staying in the park, and if they refused and said they were going to stay in the park, the citation would be issued. The new ordinance says the citation will be enforced.
Everybody's treated equally, and the laws and ordinances are enforced equally across the board. So if you can be Keenan Cortez jaywalking, you're going to get approached by JPD, or you can be John Q. Citizen jaywalking, you're going to get approached by JPD. Now that doesn't mean everybody's going to get a citation. We try to sprinkle in a little bit of compassion and common sense into what we do, but we're going to enforce our ordinances because they're in place to make Joplin safe.
In Joplin, Ty Parks, KOAM News.
Recently, the city of Pittsburgh passed a similar ordinance concerning camping in parks. Well, let's go ahead and check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney for a first look at weather.
Well, overnight tonight, temperatures are dropping below average, so we're getting down into the low to mid 60s tonight. It's going to be a cool, crisp morning for a Saturday morning, and as you can see, we don't have any clouds out there or any rain chances until tomorrow. So we're looking good for tonight and even through Saturday morning. But you can see where our little bar graph spikes up there in the afternoon, Saturday afternoon, all the way till Saturday evening. We're getting these isolated shower chances that are going to actually drop our temperatures from the low 90s on Saturday to the upper 80s on Sunday, and then to the upper 70s on Monday. We're getting a little taste of fall next week. Unfortunately, we call this false fall because summertime will come back around before we actually get to enjoy the fall season. But I'm going to have all those details coming up.
Well, Lindsay, thanks. A motorcycle driver is recovering after a crash yesterday afternoon in Joplin. Authorities say the crash happened near West 7th and Chestnut Avenue. According to the report, the motorcycle and a car were both traveling eastbound on 7th when the motorcycle crashed into the back of the car. The motorcycle driver suffered serious injuries. He was taken to an area hospital for treatment. The driver of the car was not injured. Projects are ongoing in Pittsburgh as the street sales tax program continues to fund repairs and restorations on roads within city limits. The street sales tax program, which has been utilized for several years, combines tax dollars with funds from the Kansas Department of Transportation. The purpose of the program is to dedicate funds specifically to the renovation and repair of city streets. According to the City of Pittsburgh, funds are split between different types of repair, like preventative maintenance and major rehabilitation, to maximize how far the money will stretch. Well then, also, water samples have been collected from 90 different locations across Branson, Missouri after a water main break downtown. 2 construction workers got hurt when that break happened yesterday afternoon. They remain in the hospital and a precautionary boil advisory is in effect. The workers' company and city officials are saying little about what happened. Reagan DiTrolio has more.
It was horrible, and I just seen the guys down there, and every time I looked out they was kind of in a huddle, and I just hated it for them.
Chris Black just opened a business here on Main Street in downtown Branson in June. Black feels for the 2 Emery Sapp & Sons construction workers who are now in critical condition following a water main break Thursday afternoon.
Devastating. These guys are great. I mean, it's safety first. I've watched them all night long. They've done everything up to par.
Midwest Traffic Signal Services, MTSS owners told KY3 off camera that its crews ran to try and provide aid to the 2 ESS workers, saying they jumped in to give life-saving resuscitation aid on the 2 ESS employees. MTSS leaders say their employees are traumatized after witnessing and helping during the incident, and other business owners right by Main Street restated the need for answers.
The information coming in was pretty sketchy to begin with.
Ferris owns the Pie Safe and another business in downtown Branson. He says the Branson community deserves to know exactly what happened and how the injured workers are doing today.
What's important is the lives of the 2 men that have been injured. That's the bottom line.
I kind of stayed away from it because it's depressing, and I'm just worried about them, but I hope everything's okay and hope they do fine.
Coming down, crackdowns on crime continue in the nation's capital.
President Trump says restaurant reservations in D.C. are up since the federal government's crime crackdown here. I'm Grady Trimble at the White House. What are restaurant owners saying? We have their reaction next.
But up first, new guidelines released when it comes to COVID-19 vaccines for children. With the number of COVID-19 cases rising, the American Academy of Pediatrics released its updated recommendations on vaccines and shots this week. The problem? They differ from the CDC's. Maribel Gonzalez spoke to experts about why this divergence is significant and what you need to know as you take your kids back to school.
The American Academy of Pediatrics, or AAP, issuing new guidance on COVID-19 vaccines for children.
At the Academy, we always start with what is in the best interest of the health of children.
The AAP recommending that all children ages 6 months through 23 months should receive a COVID-19 vaccine unless they're allergic to it, and a single dose after the age of 2.
Pediatricians around the country stand ready to do whatever is needed to keep our children safe.
The CDC guidance says the COVID-19 vaccine for healthy children ages 6 months to 17 years should be, quote, based on shared clinical decision making.
If the pediatricians are saying one thing, but our health secretary is saying another, these are real challenges that we are facing right now. And I have a feeling they're going to negatively impact vaccination rates for this fall.
As kids head back to school, COVID rates in the southern western U.S. reached 12.5%. That's the highest in the nation right now, according to the CDC.
We can't undervalue how important vaccines have been. If we're not careful, we may be rolling back the clock in a harmful way.
So what can you do to avoid confusion?
It's okay to hesitate and ask questions. Let's get you all the information you need in order to make the right choice for you and your family.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Well, unfortunately, around 600 Centers for Disease Control and Prevention employees were notified of permanent layoffs this week. About 2,400 workers were initially terminated in April, but a federal judge ordered hundreds to be reinstated. The Department of Health and Human Services has said reducing the number of employees at the CDC will make it more efficient. And a new survey shows why lots of adults order from the kids menu for themselves when eating out. The survey conducted by Lightspeed Commerce, providing sale info in the hospitality business, says that 44% of adults say they order from the children's menu for a few reasons. They want to save money and they're going for smaller portions. Restaurant dining has become more costly, and the Consumer Price Index shows dining meals up about 4% over the last year. Lightspeed says that choosing a children's menu can be a smarter option beyond that of the nostalgia. Lindsay is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, indications from the Fed Chair Jerome Powell say that a rate cut could be coming, and it has Wall Street celebrating.
The last couple of days, we've been experiencing average summer temperatures in the low 90s. Now we're going to get to see a bit of a false fall next week. Until then, we can go ahead and take a look outside right now. Clear skies tonight out in downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. A pretty nice evening, not really any clouds going on, nothing until we get into tomorrow. Now today we hit just about 90 degrees, so again, average summer for this time of year. And then our low was a little bit cooler than our average, so we get to enjoy a little bit of a crispier morning before that heat really hits us. Now we do get some rain chances starting on Saturday, and we need it. We are in a bit of a drought. We're starting to see that drought creeping back in. You can see the Joplin area more in those dry conditions, but it's pushing further into our central counties, then out Monette down to Cassville over to Branson in a moderate drought risk. So we're seeing this continually spike. Now as we get over into Saturday, we have a couple of chances of rain in the morning, just an isolated chance of rain showers there, but later in the afternoon, more of a disruption to your Saturday afternoon and evening. We have these chances of rain that consistently push into the overnight hours Saturday and early Sunday morning. Now, thankfully for us, this is actually going to bring cooler temperatures to the area. We're getting down into the upper 80s for our Sunday high. And we're not going to see a ton of rainfall on Saturday, but we have more chances coming later into the week. But until then, here we are, 6 a.m. Saturday morning. Get this southerly wind. That's going to be bringing our temperatures up to about 90, 91 degrees for the high. And then we also have these isolated little shower chances that start around 2 p.m. Now, most of them are going to be hit and miss. Most of us stay dry through the early afternoon hours. Later into the evening, now here we are 8 p.m. So these storms start in southeastern Kansas around 5 to 6 p.m. They're going to push into just west of Pittsburgh, north of Columbus. They're going to be moving into the Joplin area closer to 11:30. Now we're only getting the tail end of this, just some light showers, just a little edge. But southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma going to get a lot more rain chances. That all pushes out by about 3 to 4 a.m. on Sunday. And then we have mostly sunny skies for the day on Sunday. A couple of hit and miss showers there. And temperatures in the upper 80s. But on Monday, low 70s. Now we also have rain chances on Monday all day long, heavy rain. That's going to make it feel like low 70s and upper 60s. So it's going to feel even cooler than the actual temperature. That's why we call it false fall. That starts on Monday, but it continues all week. Tuesday, 80 degrees, Wednesday, 81. Another round of heavy rain on Thursday with temperatures in the upper 70s on Friday as well. Then we do start to warm back up next weekend into Labor Day. Going to be back into the 80s, so and sunny. Pretty nice forecast for Labor Day, but we really need the rain.
Sure.
So all week long, beautiful temperatures and almost daily heavy rain chances is going to be phenomenal for this area.
Yeah, I'm loving those temperatures,
Me too.
as I think many of us are.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lindsay. Up next, Canada announces the removal of tariffs on some U.S. goods, why the decision was made, and what comes next.
Buy new Hondas with 0 points and News app. Get a full breakdown.
Wall Street is celebrating after the Fed chair indicated a rate cut would be coming soon to a bank near you. Fox's Ryan Schmelz has more from the White House.
Monetary policy must be forward-looking and consider the lags in its effects on the economy.
Jerome Powell making what could be his final annual address as Fed chair on Friday, hinting the Federal Reserve might cut interest rates after more than 3 years of restrictions.
The stability of the unemployment rate and other labor market measures allows us to proceed carefully as we consider changes to our policy stance.
Powell didn't indicate when a rate cut might be coming, but his remarks were enough to send stocks soaring Friday afternoon. Cutting interest rates has been a key demand of President Trump, who's openly clashed with Powell over the issue. But the chairman has held his ground, claiming high rates are the best way to bring inflation down to the 2% target. Powell also weighed in on two of the president's signature policy initiatives, tariffs and immigration, claiming they're both starting to become a drag on the economy.
Significantly higher tariffs across our trading partners are remaking the global trading system. Tighter immigration policy has led to an abrupt slowdown in labor force growth.
But critics are pushing back, claiming Powell is relying on faulty data and calling on President Trump to replace him.
There's no transparency. They operate in total secret. It needs to be all out in the open, and Trump should get rid of Powell as soon as he can.
Powell also says he's confident higher prices from the tariffs will be temporary, not the start of a new inflation crisis. At the White House, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Well, Canada has just announced that it's removing tariffs on some American goods. On Friday, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said he's lifting retaliatory tariffs placed on an extensive list of American products. The move takes effect September 1st and will apply to goods that comply with the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. However, the 25% tariff placed on American steel and aluminum, as well as tariffs on American cars, will stay in place. The announcement comes after Carney spoke with President Donald Trump on Thursday. Carney said that he and Trump will continue discussions to address current trade issues in key sectors. Taking one last trip before this summer officially ends might be a little easier on your wallet. AAA says if you want to fly, domestic round-trip flights are 6% less expensive than they were this time last year. National hotel rates are down 11%, with car rental prices 3% lower. Booking data shows the most popular U.S. destinations for the upcoming Labor Day weekend include Seattle, Orlando, and New York City. People planning to hit the road by car are also getting a financial break. Prices at the pump have fallen to a low not seen since the summer of 2021. Coming up, more user customizations coming to Netflix, and it's based off your birthday.
And by value.
Your hair's low-key giving right now. Speaking of...
Your zodiac sign can help you find a love match and know when to search for a job, but now it can help you decide what to stream. Netflix is now offering show and movie recommendations based on your zodiac sign. The new astrology hub called Your Zodiac Watch List launched on Thursday. The row of curated titles matches the vibes of the corresponding zodiac signs. Here's a sample. Netflix recommends those born under the Aquarius sign should binge Stranger Things, Resident Alien, and Venom: The Last Dance. I can only imagine what it recommends for me. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, restaurant owners in D.C. are praising the crackdown on crime happening around the city. And are peace talks between Ukraine and Russia in jeopardy? More on that coming up.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Anthony Saviello. Restaurant owners in the D.C. area tell Fox Business they're optimistic that President Trump's visit and the crime crackdown will help bring diners back. Fox Business correspondent Grady Trimble is at the White House with more.
When President Trump visited members of the National Guard and other law enforcement agencies this week, he reiterated that people feel safe dining out in D.C. again after the federal government's crime crackdown.
Right now, it's better than it has been in years. And in a couple of weeks, it's going to be even far better than that. And everybody's safe now. Everybody feels safe. And they're all coming in. And people are now coming in. They're making reservations to come in. They want to be in Washington, D.C.
So here are the numbers. Reservations did dip last week, the first full week after the federal government took over law enforcement responsibilities in the nation's capital. The White House pointing out that year-over-year decline was likely the result of Restaurant Week taking place that week in 2024. But look at this week. It's Restaurant Week 2025, and reservations are way up. The Restaurant Association here says after last week's dip, this week's numbers are, quote, a hopeful sign that diners are showing up for the district. Here's how one restaurant owner describes how he and his fellow owners are feeling, even if those other owners aren't as outspoken in their support as he is.
I've had literally not one person in the industry has turned to me and gone, oh, this is a bit much, or oh, this isn't doing anything. It's just not true. It's just not happening. Business owners out there, whether they're showing it or not, are and by the way, whether they agree with the way it's done or not, are genuinely grateful. Finally, something is changing in the nation's capital.
And new numbers from the White House show more than 700 arrests have been made since this operation started just over 2 weeks ago. At the White House, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
Well, the FBI searches the house of former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton. The search is part of an investigation into the handling of classified documents. The former National Security Advisor was not detained and has not been charged with any crimes. Messages left with a spokesperson for Bolton and the White House were not immediately returned, and a lawyer who has represented Bolton and had no immediate comment. Throughout Bolton's 17 months as Trump's national security advisor, they clashed over Iran, Afghanistan, and North Korea. Bolton also faced scrutiny during the first Trump administration over a book he wrote about his time in government that officials argued disclosed classified information. The State Department has paused issuing work visas for foreign commercial truck drivers. On Thursday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the increasing number of foreign drivers is endangering American lives and undercutting the livelihoods of American truck drivers. The Post did not give a further explanation for the decision. It comes after the Department of Transportation said it was investigating a truck driver accused of making an illegal U-turn that caused a deadly wreck in Florida. Federal authorities have said the truck driver entered the U.S. illegally. The American Trucking Association expressed support for the State Department's visa pause this week, but it has previously acknowledged a driver shortage. As President Donald Trump tries to arrange a meeting between the leaders of Russia and Ukraine, Moscow is still attacking its neighbor. A rare drone and missile strike on the western part of the country targeted facilities, including an American-owned electronics plant. Fox News correspondent Stephanie Bennett has details.
Explosions echo across the Kyiv skyline early Thursday morning. Ukraine's Air Force says Russia launched 574 drones and 40 missiles across the country. The attacks mostly targeting the west, far from the front lines to the east and south. But it's where much of the military aid provided by Ukraine's allies is believed to be delivered and stored. In Lviv, one person was killed and several others injured, as homes were completely engulfed in flames. A U.S. electronics plant near the Hungarian border was also struck, injuring several workers.
Those were household appliances, nothing military. The Russians knew perfectly well where they were aiming. It was a missile strike. We believe it was a deliberate strike precisely on American property here in Ukraine.
Russia's continued attacks impacting public opinion in Ukraine. In Gallup's most recent poll, 69% say they favor a negotiated end to the war as soon as possible, compared to 24% who support continuing the fight. This marks a nearly complete reversal from public opinion in 2022, when 73% favored fighting and 23% preferred a negotiated end. Zelensky has repeatedly stated his willingness to meet with Putin, which could precede a trilateral meeting alongside President Trump somewhere in Europe. Russia says it has conditions of its own before any new talks commence.
Our president has repeatedly said that he is ready to meet, including with Mr. Zelensky, with the understanding that all issues that require consideration at the highest level will be well worked out.
President Zelensky says plans for security guarantees should become clearer by the end of next week. In London, Stephanie Bennett, Fox News.
Lindsay is next with another look at your forecast, and later, Fox on Games.
It's the biggest gaming event in the world, and we've got the inside scoop on some of the many big announcements. I'm Eamon Dignam in New York, and I have a fraction of the new stuff announced coming up.
Well, we've been experiencing average summer temperatures, but we get a little taste of fall next week. Until then, we get to enjoy a few more warm days. Let's go ahead and take a look outside right now, downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. We have mostly clear skies tonight and through most of the morning on Saturday as well. Now, not a lot of clouds going on, really nothing tonight. We did have temperatures reach just about 90 degrees with our low, again, near average. We do get to have a little bit of a crisp, cool morning for a Saturday morning before some rain chances start to creep in. And we need the rain because we are starting to see those drought conditions just creeping back in. Our dry conditions, that's all the areas in the yellow, pushing further into our central counties, making it all the way out to Columbus, near Pittsburgh, up to Nevada as well. But then we also have this moderate drought risk from Springfield, Monette, down to Cassville and over to Branson, and that's just expanding as well. So we definitely need some rain chances. We have a slight chance there briefly in the morning, but mostly, most of us are going to see those rain chances creeping in later in the afternoon, mostly even into the evening as well. Now, these storm chances are pushing in along a cold front. That's going to bring our temperatures down from the low 90s on Saturday to the upper 80s on Sunday, so much cooler temperatures, and that just gets even cooler as we head into next week. Now let's go ahead and take a look. All right, starting Saturday morning, southerly winds, so we do have a warmer Saturday, 90, 91, maybe even up to 92, slightly above average, but then here's our front pushing in, a few clouds, so it's a dry front at first. Storms that push in are going to be elevated behind the cold front. So you can see our winds are out of the north. We start to see these pop-up shower chances at about 2 p.m. Later in the evening, our pop-up thunderstorms starting to push in again after 6, maybe 7 p.m. and then getting to 8 is when they get closer to the Joplin area. Now this isolated storm just to the west of Pittsburgh, north of Columbus, that's going to push out, but we're really watching this larger chance for widespread rain and some embedded thunderstorms in that as well, mostly staying southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, but you can see slightly clipping that Joplin area, so we might get a few showers out there to Joplin, but most of us on the Missouri side going to stay dry on Saturday. All of these showers push further south overnight Sunday and into Sunday morning, but we even have a couple of chances for some pop-up showers early Sunday afternoon. Not seeing any rain, you're going to have sunshine for Sunday, and then we get to enjoy cooler temperatures, upper 80s Sunday, so it is still a little bit warmer there Sunday, but Monday we're going to be in the upper 70s, so it is a nice taste of fall, but it's going to feel like upper 60s to low 70s because we have rain all day long, starting early in the Monday morning, lasting till Monday afternoon, so rain chances all day. That's going to drive those feels like temperatures down a bit. Tuesday, Wednesday, isolated chances for showers, temperatures in the low 80s, so that's going to be really nice a couple of days if you're not getting any rain. Another round of heavier rain is going to be on Thursday and into Friday morning, and both those days are going to be in the 70s as well. So even though it's going to be rainy, we may not get to enjoy those 70-degree days, it is going to be nice to get some rain for this area.
Hey, I don't know about everyone else. I look at this and I have no complaints whatsoever.
Me either. I'm loving the rain. I'm loving the cooler temperatures. Unfortunately, we call this false fall.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure everyone knows it will get hot again before we actually get to enjoy fall, so don't get too ahead of yourselves.
Well, if the meteorologist has no complaints, you can't have any complaints. That's a rule. All right. Thanks, Lindsay. Still ahead, the Chiefs cap off their preseason schedule tonight. Sports director Ryan Blank sat down with the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtis, to preview position battles to watch. And the Miami War Dogs will start the season with multiple quarterbacks under center. We'll have the details coming up.
The Chiefs wrap up their preseason schedule tonight against the Bears with position battles taking center stage. With 53-man roster spots up for grabs, players at every position are looking to show why they belong in the red and gold. One of those key battles is on the interior offensive line, With starting left guard, that spot is up for grabs. While 3 guys are competing for the job, all eyes are on former second-round draft pick Kingsley Suamatia, who continues his development at the position after making the switch from tackle to guard. Earlier this week, I sat down with the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtis, who broke down this battle.
Jalen Moore now getting an opportunity to play left guard. You have Mike Calienda, who ended the season last year at left guard. And then Kingsley Suamatia is trying to make that move over there. For Kingsley, this is an important end. These last days that will go up to the game in Brazil are really important for Kingsley. Not only to work on his own technique as a left guard, but to work in concert with Creed on his right and Josh Simmons on his left, because teams are going to bring the kitchen sink at those guys. TT twists, TE twists, delayed blitzes, all stuff that's very wicked and takes 4 to 5 years sometimes to figure it out. Kingsley's got to get this down.
Another position battle to watch is at wide receiver. The Chiefs entered camp with 14 receivers and usually keep 6 or 7 on the final roster. Kansas City has most of their receiving core set as well, with Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, and rookie Jalen Royals, leaving 1, maybe 2 spots up for grabs. And for those looking to clinch one of those final spots at the position, it isn't just about your play on offense, but also on special teams.
Tyquan Thornton has been the camp darling. Nico Remigio is the best returner we've got. And if you're going to be at the bottom end of the 5th, 6th, maybe 7th receiver, you've got to be a 3-core or 4-core special teamer. So Thornton has got to prove that he can be a gunner, he can cover kicks. And Remigio has done that. And then you throw in Brownlee. Jason Brownlee, he's kind of been camp darling 2.0. But he also has to prove that he can play every receiver position. You have to do that in Andy Reid's system and be a special teams, not only contributor, but an impact special teams player.
The Miami War Dogs are coming off their 3rd straight winning season following an 8-3 record last year. And as the season begins, one position battle will highlight their first couple of games. The War Dogs are in the middle of a quarterback competition, and this battle features an experienced signal caller in Blaze Riley and then senior Hayden Connell, who's making the switch to quarterback from wide receiver and corner. Despite the season starting a week from tonight, the War Dogs are not rushing this decision to name a starter and will let their in-game performances over the first couple of weeks be the deciding factor.
They're both very coachable kids, worked really hard. The kids have responded well to the adjustment. We lost Sam Lillard to NEO, who graduated last year had 2 years experience there. And I think these guys have learned a lot from him and his leadership, and they understand what it takes to be that position and not only be the guy on the field but off the field as well. So we'll let stats and play take care of itself.
Competition's going well. I feel like it's going to be a good battle, very competitive on both ends between me and him. He gets to see us both making plays and decisions on the field and see how we do after we make errors. I played corner all 3 years until this year, and so I feel like I have an advantage on reading a little bit defenses.
As Miami works through their quarterback competition, 2 positions of strength this season for the War Dogs will come at running back and linebacker, highlighted by the return of 2-way starter Eli Lewis, who injured his knee in week 3 of last year. And as Lewis enters his junior season, he's ready to make his return to the gridiron.
I'm very excited. It's been a long time. Just ready to get back out there and grind. I'm feeling great. We've got a great core of both sides. A lot of strong guys. We know what we're doing, and I think we're going to come out and make great plays on both sides of football.
He's the type of kid you know what you're going to get in, down and down out. I mean, you have to turn his motor off, or he only has one high motor and he gives effort. So we almost have to bring him off the field. He's not going to take a play off per se. So that's just his mentality.
Miami opens their season a week from tonight on the road in Arkansas against Elkins. The 30th edition of the Pigskin Preview is live, and you can scan the QR code on your screen, head to the KOAMnewsnow.com/pigskin, or download our free KOAM News mobile app to view it. When you're there, you'll see the logos for all the teams showcased in the preview, ranging from the high schools in Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma to the junior colleges and universities in our area. You'll see quotes from coaches, schedules, and season outlooks, along with much more. And as the season starts, you'll find our live scoreboard to keep you updated on the action every Friday night. You'll also find highlights as we hit the ground running to the area games this season. That's it for sports. We're back with more after this.
The gaming world tunes into Germany for the biggest announcements on fan favorite titles and console to screen hits. Fox's Eamon Dignam has more on this edition of Fox on Games.
Welcome to Gamescom!
Gamescom 2025 is one of the biggest gaming events in the world. Publishers, developers, journalists, and fans gather in Cologne, Germany every year. And some of the biggest reveals so far have been highly anticipated.
They want you afraid.
Activision's Call of Duty Black Ops 7.
You feel it, don't you?
The next World of Warcraft expansion called Midnight. And the sequel to indie darling Hollow Knight, this one called Silksong. There were also some surprise announcements, including Shang Kui, a sequel to last year's surprise hit Black Myth Wukong, centered on the Chinese folktale Journey to the West. Game-related TV will also be in the spotlight, including a new look of Season 2 of Fallout from Prime Video, which picks up the story as the main characters are heading to the remains of Las Vegas, known as New Vegas.
What say you, Miss McClane?
Seen in the trailer, canon faction from 2010's Fallout New Vegas game, such as Caesar's Legion, a group of raiders who found history books about the Roman leader Julius Caesar and based their whole post-apocalyptic identity on it, as well as Mr. House, the robot manufacturer and casino magnate who put his entire brain into a supercomputer before the bombs dropped in the game to survive the nuclear dystopia. Check out next week's Fox on Games podcast for a more comprehensive rundown of the biggest announcements from Gamescom 2025. In New York, Eamon Dignam, Fox News.
New artwork is unveiled at Pitt State. An inside look up next. Pittsburgh State University says that with a brand new semester comes brand new artwork. The University Gallery in Porter Hall is now showcasing what some call a captivating collection from the 1900s by artist Diane Bronstein. As KOAM's Lonnie Walton reports, organizers say it's a unique opportunity to connect with timeless artistry.
I spoke to a couple Pittsburgh students who say if you want to free your mind, this is the place to be.
You can send any sort of message that you want, and literally anybody can understand it because it's a visual medium.
I think it brought me a lot of peace and comfort when I was in high school.
Evan and Alyssa are art students at Pitt State University. They say artwork is their life. Professor James Oliver says students like these can expose themselves to a new exhibit by Diane Bronstein called The Unreal City.
He combines mixed media work with vintage photographs and fibers to embroider over the top of the photographs.
The embroidery is everywhere in this museum.
Most of her photographs, just anonymously, finds them at thrift stores or sales and that kind of thing, and then responds to them with the embroidery over the top.
I've never seen anything like this before, and every time I see a new exhibit, there's always just something so unique about it.
This is like very good use of embroidery and like old found objects.
The students are getting a wealth of knowledge with these exhibits.
Regularly, we have students that help with installs and deinstalls, so they're learning art practices.
It's just kind of really inspiring just to see like the personal direction somebody can go in with their work.
Leaders tell me if you happen to miss this showing, there are several throughout the academic year. Reporting in Pittsburgh, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
The Unreal City exhibit is free and runs through mid-October. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. From all of us here at KOAM, have a great night.